All right, welcome. Welcome to Devlog episode 3. Today, I'm feeling much better than I was at the tail end of last week. Today, I spent the day implementing the fix for the authentication with Shopify and an embedded app and LiveView. Turns out pretty straightforward once you get everything going. So I was able to get that started, and now things are looking up. I also found a whole bunch of silly asset pipeline issues along the way. So that was interesting. Iframes are a strange beast. I haven't used them very much in my career. Try to avoid them where possible, to be quite honest. But they seem to function a little differently in some cases than just a regular mainframe browser. So or a main window without the iframe inside of it. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but what was happening is some assets from Phoenix were not being reloaded. So live reload was working. The watcher for the assets was reloading, was actually creating them. So you can see the files changing. You can see the page get reloaded, but the asset brought in to the iframe was the old asset. It's like it didn't invalidate the cache or something like that. Like there's some kind of aggressive caching inside there. Yeah, I need to look into that more. Maybe someone knows about what's going on there. I didn't have a chance to really dig. I just needed to fix it. So I just slapped a timestamp on the end as a query param, little T or a V. I forget which it is. I think it was V. And that busts the cache all the time. So when the page gets new HTML, boom, it's a different asset, but not really. Yeah, so let's fix that. But anyway, yeah, feeling good, having fun. Kind of what I would say on a lot of this is it's very natural in the software development process. Suffer for 3 days, and then kind of get the unlock that you need to get something done, and then solve a problem. You kind of have to soak yourself in various problems until you actually get them, and then once you understand them, it's normally pretty quick to solve them. I like to joke sometimes that like the coding part is the easy part. the thinking part is where all the work truly is. Yeah. So that client project back on track. We got one more thing I want to work on tomorrow before I'll fully declare it completely back on track, and then we're in really good shape. Other aspects of what's going on in my world is I just got the finished designs from Lucas Bell, who's the designer I've been working with on the new Loam website, and it is looking fine. It is looking great. Some really nice illustrations, has some really nice flavor to it. One of the things I like to do when I have a website, kind of when I act as the creative director on a website, is I like to have a very opinionated take. Whatever the voice is, we find a voice, and we don't follow trend necessarily, unless the goal is to be as trendy as possible, which is typically not what I do. It's find a voice that is an accurate representation of the product, and then stick to it and push it as far as it can be. I think contrast is a really important thing among products and services, because everybody can end up looking the same. I think you have to be sort of in the same universe, maybe, sometimes. But most of the time, you just choose an opinionated take and stick with it, execute it to the highest consistency as you can within that take, and you'll end up with something that's really fun. It'll get people talking at a minimum. Yeah, so those designs landed. And now I have essentially 3 websites to build here over the next few months. I've got the Loam Studios website. I've got my own personal website, which which Lucas did a complete redesign for me, actually almost a year ago now, which has been sitting a long time, but we've got to get that one out. And then the third one at some point here needs to be dealt with, which is the Loam Capital website. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what that means down the line, but it's a part of the Loam family of web properties. There's kind of a few different ones. There's Loam Capital, Loam Studios, there's my personal website, and then our app, the apps that we're building will kind of fall into their own particular buckets. So that's pretty fun. It's always great to see the design work. Lucas is super talented, and at some point I'll explain why I think why a designer like him and the characteristics that he carries is really important to have on your team, because not all designers are made equal, and Lucas brings a very interesting mix of skill sets that really change the game when it comes to getting designs. So it's fun, super fun to work with. Connected to those designs is I began working with a colleague and a friend that I'm mentoring, who's in Eswatini actually, and he's working on building the back end of a CMS for these different sites. And generally speaking, I take the position that I don't think you need to have like a third-party API to do your CMSs. I think it's better when they can be one site, the content and the app, or just simply all the content all be one. I actually would be a big fan of WordPress generally, because it is that approach. If I actually liked WordPress, I do not particularly like WordPress. That's not a conversation we need to have right now, but just generally not a big fan of WordPress. But I think what it does when it brings together the back end and the front end in one cohesive unit, I think that's really useful. I just don't think you need headless this and API that, and it's just so much complexity. Compile the thing, build the thing once, and ship out one block of code, and you should be good to go. So he's begun working on the data model for that. We're calling that project Brix, BRIX, and that is going to be pretty fun to build. I've spent a lot of time in the Shopify ecosystem, looking at CMSs, thinking about how all these different pieces come together, and I want to create something in the LiveView Phoenix world that not does the exact same thing as Shopify, but provides a nice, very approachable, fast to use, fast to build with CMS for our projects. And we'll release it as open source, an open source gift when it's the right time. We'll extract it out, and hopefully then other people can enjoy it as well, and maybe support it or whatever. So that's some other work that's going on there. What else is going on? Oh, today was a really fun day with a lot of business opportunities pop out. To be quite honest, I was pretty discouraged at the end of last week. I'm technically juggling quite a few different projects right now. I kind of have a main contract. I have some additional stuff and some business development for the future. And I've been struggling trying to figure out how I get enough time to do the things to the quality I want to do them, and so forth. And there's a bunch of different variables at play, which I'll at some point map things out kind of once the decisions are made and once the choices are kind of all fully unraveled. But I was feeling pretty discouraged, and had some really great conversations and got some great news on a few different conversations, opportunities that really kind of boosted my spirits. And it was tough before, just trying to wrestle how do we do all the things that we want to do at Loam. We've got a nice Rolodex of about I want to say it's about six different apps to probably start the portfolio, each addressing a particular problem that we see in the world. It might be a little less than 6. There's over 6 businesses, but I don't know if there's 6 apps. But anyway, we got a bunch of stuff to do, and it all takes time. I thought AI would be like this amazing accelerant. I think AI is going to be useful. But I don't know if it's going to be the accelerant that like I originally thought. Not to the like 1000x times. I think it's more like a 10x, which is still amazing, but it's not like, oh, and I'm going to prompt out something and then boom, here's this app that I've been wanting to have. And I can talk about this more at some other point in time, but like AI ain't that. that it requires pretty heavy supervision and pretty heavy planning and organization for it to be good, and especially if you're going to go into production in the areas that we are interested in going into, you just can't mess that junk up. You gotta have it nailed. So I've been wrestling, just trying to figure out how do I manage my time in such a way to create the opportunity for these extra developments. And so the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together, and I'll outline in another video like how I organize my life so that I can move from one to another, like one project to the next project to the next project. And yeah, hopefully that's helpful to somebody who also has a lot of ideas and ambitions and really wants to get into it, but is trying to figure out how to navigate, the different tensions on the world. I will say this: I do focus on doing one thing at a time, and that's a really important piece of this. But it's in what sequence and in with what resource backing and all that kind of stuff. So a bunch of stuff happened. Really great stuff happened. A couple good, business development calls. A couple, some things just kind of became clear in my mind. So it's really, really been great. If anyone who's ever kind of like wrestled through some of these decisions, how tricky it can be to kind of feel like you don't know the path forwards, but path forward's clear. And so that's great. So fun meter is high right now, which is really exciting. So yeah, thank you for watching the third devlog. And if you ever have a question, hit me up in the comments. You can also catch me on X. I'm very active over there. x.com/Jeffrey Gunther. Don't forget the E in Gunther. Links in the video description below as well. Happy to chat. Happy to have conversations if you have questions about things that you would like to learn more about, maybe some of the details of the projects, any of this sort of thing. Just shoot me a line. I'm really looking forward to it. Oh, I will start talking a little bit about some of the things. So I'm doing these devlogs, so they're super easy. Pop the camera on, hit record, and just chat. I do want to also do some live streams coming up. And then probably some deep dives, possibly as well, where I actually work through some different topics. So if that's something that you'd like to see, let me know. I think I'm going to do it. I just got to figure out when and how. I've played with live streaming before, and it's fun, but yeah, just got to have the right balance of things. So anyway, long and the short of it is, if you want to learn more, if you have questions, hit me up. Otherwise, have a great evening, and we'll see you in the next video.